G'day guys, lesson 9 here. What we are looking at today is still looking at the changing communication process. We're going to be looking at further in depth on how communication technology affects our behavior. So specifically this lesson is going to be looking at the impact that the changing communication of online technologies, especially things like social media, phones, the internet, etc., how that has really fundamentally changed the way that we all communicate. So to start off with, I've got a word bank of your core notes that I would like you to complete, and don't forget to do summaries on those either as well. I've also got two images down the bottom here that I think really highlight the impact of changing communication as an example. The photo on the left here, we have a family all getting together, eating and bonding over a meal. And then here on the right, we've got two people again sitting down, eating and supposedly bonding over a meal, but they're not really present with each other. They've got phones in their hands. So you've probably seen people out for dinner and they're just on their phones the whole time. The idea that that's considered rude is, I think, declining in our culture. It's something that is very common now. Everyone's, and even that they might have their phone, just on their desk. On the dinner table right next to them. So the idea that that's really changing the way that we communicate, as opposed to being present and face to face with the person next to you. You might be talking to someone 20 kilometers away whilst you're out for dinner with someone else. So again, the idea that internet has really changed a lot of cultural activities, especially going out for dinner, is an example of an impact that communication technology has had. So what we're going to look at here is next, as part of our activity, is intragenerational communication. So this is communication with the same generation. So as we go through each of our dot points here, there's little bits that we're going to cover. So we've got intragenerational communication and interaction first, and then language usage, cross-generational, I spelled that wrong, social interaction, so blah, blah, blah. So we're going to go through all of those, each as their own subheading. So you can cross these off as we go, if you like. So this is communication with people of the same generation. This is an accurate depiction of a Zoomer, so a Gen Z, which is our generation, sadly. I still feel like I do not belong with your generation, but that's okay. We'll just have to move on from that. Well, I have to move on, sadly. So the activity here to demonstrate intragenerational communication, I want you to draw a scenario below that only someone from your generation would understand. Now the test being that if I see that and I don't get that, then technically you haven't completed the task properly, as we're technically the same generation, right? So I want you to draw a scenario below that only someone from your generation would understand. If you want to really put this to the test, show mum or dad or an older sibling, or maybe text a photo of it to a grandparent or something if they're not within your immediate household, and see if they understand it. If they don't, bang on, you've done a great job. So the next thing we want to look at is the impact that language usage has had on communication. So, and the main reason or main impact is that it tends to be less formal. So if you look at this text message on the right here, I want you, lol, was great to see you too, but oh my god, I've got to go talk to you later. So we didn't used to write like that. Even if you go back to Shakespearean days, it was how doth thy, this, thus, thee, all those sort of really old English language. We've now converted to using shortened words or abbreviations for almost everything now. So what I would like you to do here to demonstrate the changing nature of communication is I want you to write a text message with use of slang or language that someone from your generation would understand, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and decipher it. Okay, so whatever the text is that you've written, when I check your work, I'm going to leave a little post and see if I can decipher it. Okay, a bit of fun there. Doesn't necessarily have to be a text message, but it can be a sentence. I just want it to be a sentence that uses slang from today's Gen Z, and I want to see if I can understand what it means. Okay, so if you say something like wow, that lesson left me shook and I am now extremely woke, I will understand what you mean. So try use something that you don't think I'll understand. Next thing, cross-generational interactions and communication. So this is communicating with people of different generations. So what I would like you to do is describe to me, next to each of these fun images, how you would communicate with each of the following different generations. So how would you communicate with your grandparents? Now I'm just assuming most of them are boomers just because we're from the same gen. Then your parents, again, I'm assuming that they'll either be boomers or from Gen X or Y. And then how do you communicate differently with your teachers? Okay, now they can be from almost any generation, as ranging from your own, me, to old mate, Mr. Warren, a boomer, right? So tell us how you talk to your teachers. Okay. Once we have done that, we will have crossed off 1, 2, 3. The impact of changing communication between people of the same generation, different generations, and on language usage. The next lesson that we're going to do is going to cover these 3 as well as this one. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Bye-bye.